Today, we'll be chatting with a gorgeous, beautiful Black Haitian woman whose beauty transcends her exterior, exuding a wonderful and vibrant personality.
She's an Olympian and was a contestant on Clayton's season of The Bachelor. We get to talk about her background, her time on the show, and also who she would like to smash, marry, and pass. We're so glad to welcome Marlena Wesh to our show. Hope you enjoyed this interview.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the It's On podcast with Obel,
Naika,
and Marlena.
Yes. Yay. Today we're going to have such an exciting episode, guys. I know you guys have been waiting for our guest, our special guest, and there you have it. Today we're going to be introducing Marlena Welch. I hope we pronounced your last name right, Marlena.
It's Wesh, yes.
Wesh, so there's no L in it.
No L, no.
Good. That's what I thought.
That
great.
was my sister Haitian accent.
But we are so excited, guys. It's been a minute. The Bachelor, she was one of the contestants in The Bachelor. And guys, I know some of our listeners, they are not really like into that show, but you've been keeping up with us because of us. So we're going to give you one of the stars that you wanted to see on here. So we're so excited to interview her and get to know her a little bit more. First of all, Marlena, we want to say that we are so proud of the way you conducted yourself. Okay. You represented us so well. And we were like, yes, we need to have her on. And so we're so excited to have you here. And we're going to start. And tell us more about you and how did a young, beautiful Haitian girl like yourself get on The Bachelor?
Well, hello, everyone. Again, I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much. So a little bit about me. I'm 31. I currently live in Miami, Florida. I'm a real estate agent. And, I've been doing this I've been a real estate agent for just a year now. Prior to that, I was the vice president of a credit union up in Gainesville, Florida, and I had to quit my job for the show. So,
wow.
Yes. So a lot of people had to quit their jobs for the show because it's a 2-month film. And I don't know any jobs that are going to say, oh, yeah, go ahead and do it. 2 months. Yeah, go take your time. A lot of companies are also, fearful of the image that the employee could potentially have on the show. So they don't want any parts. So that's fine with me. I wanted to get out of Gainesville. So I did the show and, now I'm in Miami. But what got me onto the show is just countless failed relationships. And my most recent relationship was with a narcissist. And it was just the worst experience of my life. And to the point where when I got out of the relationship, I was like, you know what? I'm going to find love a different way. I'm going to try out for The Bachelor. And so I applied and someone called me, which is actually a surprise to me. I had no expectations whatsoever. I didn't even expect to be considered.
Wow.
Oh my
goodness. We found about you on L'Union Suite. I don't know if you actually follow up with, the Haitian shade room kind of.
Yes.
And we were like, they announced that there's going to be a Haitian person on The Bachelorette. And Haitian when it comes to competing for the love of a man. So how did your parents actually take it, like with you going on that show?
That's what I want to know.
Compete for a man.
Well, my parents are both born and raised in Haiti, and they immigrated, of course, to the States here when they were in their 20s. They've been together for 36 years, and they're very much Americanized. So I grew up, and it was kind of as if they wanted me to grow up American. They wanted me to grow up more American than Haitian. But of course, now that I'm older, I'm embracing my Haitian side because I know that I'm not just American, but growing up, I only spoke English. I'm not fluent in Creole. I do comprendre, I understand.
Okay.
I do understand, but I wasn't taught Creole growing up. And so with more Americanized parents, you know, they were like, do it. They were all for it. They said, do it, you know, have a good time, have fun. You know, I think my parents are well understanding about when it comes to mental health. And for me, the biggest thing was, you know, my job it wasn't stressful, but I knew that it wasn't where I wanted to be. It wasn't what I wanted to do forever. So in a sense, this opportunity to be on The Bachelor was a way out of my life in Gainesville at that job. So when I presented it to them, all they heard was that. And they were 100% supportive of that.
Oh, that's good.
That's amazing.
Good to have Americanized parents.
Yes. I mean, so it seems like that your journey, I mean, it was pretty smooth for you to kind of get on and not expecting the call too, and then actually getting it. You're like, am I really doing this? That's amazing. That's amazing. And so with that, how did you actually, when you got the call, right? And you had to process everything and you actually going to get on, did you actually know who was going to be the Bachelor? Like, did you kind of Google him? Like, did you get any?
We did not know. We found, and that's another thing, because it's crazy. The media takes bits and pieces and they try to make their own stories without actually knowing the full story. We found out probably a week before it was time for us to leave. So I had to make the decision of whether or not I was going to quit my job for just love in general and not have a face to what love was supposed to be for me. I didn't know if he was white, black. I didn't know what color he was going to be. You know, I didn't know what he was going to look like. But they announced probably 2 weeks prior to us leaving that it was going to be a contestant on Michelle's season, who is a black woman. You know, so of course you go to the roster. There are a lot of black men on that season. And so, you know, I go through the roster of potential people that I would want to be, you know, the Bachelor. And I'm like, okay, this guy's cute. This guy's cute. And we're just basing it on these pictures. We don't know their personalities. We haven't seen that season. That season never aired. And so when they announced it was Clayton, I had already quit my job. And it was like, there's no turning back.
Yeah, because some of the comments on L'Union Suite, they were pretty much saying like, why would a black queen like that go after, you know, a white man? Which is such a negative comment. It is. But it's such a negative comment because love is love. So I'm actually glad you actually got on the show and you didn't, you know, think about, oh man, he's white, I'm not going anymore. So it's actually a great thing that you still decided to go on the show.
Speaking of that, have you dated any men that look like Clayton before, or is he your type?
I have dated white men before. And Clayton was, and you know what's the interesting dynamic of the show is you're in a bubble, okay? You don't have a phone, you don't have a computer, you don't have radio, you don't have anything. You know, it's just you and that person. So imagine this person being the only person in the entire world to you. So it's so easy to have these feelings really quickly, you know, because every single day, all you're doing is talking to the other girls. That's your entire day and being filmed the entire day.
Wow.
So, you know, you don't have the outside world telling you, oh girl, no, he just did that. That's not okay. You know how your friends are such influences in your relationships. You don't have that anymore. So it's just you, your head, and your emotions. And so for me, he was definitely my type, you know, being in that bubble. We were both athletic, you know, and I think we really connected on the athleticism. He went to University of Missouri and played football. I went to Clemson and I ran track. So a lot of our connection was really sports related, you know, and then of course, you know, it's just this person's giving you energy. This person's giving you love. This person's giving you feedback and basically kind of feeding the emotional connection into you to where you're like, okay, I can be with this person. And then you get out of that bubble and you come back to real life and you're like, man, I probably would have never looked twice at that person on, you know, and it's just a completely different feeling and a completely different experience being, you know, in that bubble.
Right. And you know what's crazy is now that you mentioned the sport aspect, and we already know, I mean, well, I know because I looked you up. You are an Olympian. I mean, we knew about that once they posted you, but they're like, oh my gosh, she's an Olympian. Like, that's a huge that's a big deal, right? So now I'm going to get to that part, but I want to know, like, I know that I don't know if you're competitive, because I think every athlete
Yes.
had that competitiveness
Very,
to them. Like, how did
very.
it feel in the house? Did you feel like you had to kind of bring that sort of competitive side? Because we never got to see, I mean, we saw you always were composed, but like, did you feel like you had to get the competitiveness in the house? Like, we saw a little bit of thing or two on the football court. So tell us, how was that for you?
Yeah, so I definitely, and I love every single one of those girls. We bonded in a way that I don't think anyone will really understand. It was kind of like being in a sorority, right? And going through the process of being with the women that you're going to know for the rest of your life. And so we bonded on this extremely, close relationship. So for me, being competitive was my way of standing out. Because I mean, you walk in there and you've never seen these girls a day in your life, and you're just like, everyone looks like a supermodel. So when everyone is amazingly beautiful, it's like, okay, well, beauty's off the table because I can't just offer that. Like, what else can I offer? And I knew that I was the only Olympian in the house, and I was like, more than likely the only person that was really athletic. So I was like, I'm going to take that and I'm going to run with it, literally, figuratively. And I'm going to basically make that who I am, right? Which is Marlena, the athlete. I know I'm so much more than that, but I knew that that was my leg up. Whereas other girls, their leg up could have been their, congeniality, or, just their personality, or, whatever Clayton was looking for. I knew what basically positioned me to be different from the rest of the girls.
Okay. Did you watch the show before getting on the show? Like, have you been watching like the last 4 seasons, let's say?
I'm not a fan. I'm not a Bachelor fan. I'm not, no. But my first season that I ever watched was Matt James' season, of course, because he was the first African American Bachelor. So that was my first time ever watching the show. And I was like, okay, because I thought he was cute. And I'm like, oh, this guy's kind of cute. Go ahead, Bachelor. Because growing up, you see this show. Everyone knows about the Bachelor. Everyone knows about the Bachelor, but not everyone watches it. And I think that a reason why a lot of the Black community doesn't watch it is because there are no Black people, and I think that when they did that with Matt James, I was like, oh, I'm watching this now, and then they had Michelle, and then, and so you're just like, okay, Black people, you just get really excited just to see your people. And so that's when I had just started watching it. So Matt James season was my first season ever watching.
That's interesting how you said that, because I remember that's how I started watching the Bachelor, because my sister started before I did, but they had not Michelle, but Rachel Lindsay as the first Black contestant. The first last league, and I was just like, a Black person finally, like I'm watching, and so I was drawn.
I literally begged her to watch the Bachelor. She was like, "There's nobody that represent me. I don't want to watch it." So then when they got Rachel Lindsay, I was like, "You have to support a Black girl. Come on, now, watch the show." Yes, so that's why it's actually a great thing that you mentioned that, because the people need to understand, the producers, they need to understand that representation does matter. And if you have more people that looks like us, then we will watch the show, and you can see beautiful Black love story on that show. So it's actually a great thing that you went on and competed.
It was. And I want to lead with one of my favorite and best part of the show with you, I should say, was when Caitlin was conducting the
vulnerability date.
Yes, the vulnerability date. That was one of my favorite moments. And also I love how you actually stay true and authentic to what you were really feeling. And I want to know, how did you feel in that moment when she was asking those questions? Everybody had the identity, issues that, or they were being vulnerable about their identity crisis, and Clayton, and you brought up being a Black woman, how you had to work extra hard because of the color of your skin. So how did you feel, and what kind of like inspired you to say that?
Oh my gosh. So the funniest part about this entire experience is I remember before leaving, I confided with a couple of friends and some family members. And, when they found out it was Clayton, and they're like, okay, well, he's white and you're Black. Do not mention race, is what they told me. Like, don't talk about race. Like, who cares? Like, don't even talk about it. And I was like, but how can you not? In in any interracial relationship, not just white and black, but, you know, Asian and black and, you know, any type of differentiation with race, you have to discuss in a relationship, because we'll never have the same perspective. We'll never see eye to eye, you know, unless you understand. And so when she basically asked that question of, you know, who in here has faced something or that's difficult for them, and I said, you know, hey, like, being a Black woman in America, you know, it's hard. It's hard. You know what they say? They said the Black woman is the most disrespected woman in America. You know, and it's so real. It's so real, you know, and I knew that going into this, I was going to be me, and I didn't want to put on and be somebody that I was not, just so I could last longer.
Wow.
Because some people do that. Some people get on this show and they are somebody completely different just because they think it's going to take them further. And then what? You end up engaged and you just realize, like, this isn't even me. I was somebody different. Yeah, exactly. So for me, it was just kind of, I'm going to try my best to experience this unconventional type of love and connection that I can, irregardless of the race and irregardless of anything else. I was going to be me. And I needed to let him know that, hey, like, it's tough being a Black woman.
And you did such an amazing job.
You really did. And while you were there, like, building the connection, did you feel like Clayton was actually reciprocating it? Did you feel the connection? Because, you know, he has to actually make a connection with a lot of different women. But did you feel the connection with you and him?
Yeah. So what's interesting about just the connections in general is I think this entire experience forces you to keep your eyes on your own lane, right? And stay in your own lane. I don't know anything. I never knew the connections he had with the other women. It was never, you know, some women talked about it and some women talked about some of the things that he would do. But at the end of the day, it's all about your connection and him. So you take out all the extra noise, which is, oh my God, he's taking this person on a one-on-one. Oh my God, he's doing this with this person. And you focus on how can I enhance my connection? How can I, you know, show him more of me and he show me more of him? And you're focused on just you guys, nobody else. You don't think about anybody else. You know, and so for me, I did feel as if we had a connection, but I did feel like it was solely on sports and we didn't have really like a romantic connection. If that's you know, if I can say that. Yeah, it wasn't really romantic. It was more so like he's a really cool. Yeah, he's a really cool homeboy. You know, he's a really cool friend. But then again, I also do know that a lot of the strongest relationships start out as friends. You know, that's right. But with this experience, it's different because everything is just fast forwarded. You know, so starting out as a friend isn't going to get you as far as when you're able to start out with that romantic googly eyes, like, oh my God, this person is super attractive, you know?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
You're right. Because from watching the show, I was kind of getting that same energy. Like, it seems like they would make like really good friends, but I couldn't really see the romantic connection. I only saw you kiss him once. Yes. Was it like, did you only kiss him once throughout the entire season?
I did not know. And you know what? It's crazy because with these reality TV shows, people need to understand it's, you know, you guys don't see everything. You know, we're filming like 18 hours out the day and you see 2 hours of that every Monday. Wow. Of the 18 hours, you see 2 hours. So to try and compile everything in 2 hours of everyone's connection, everyone's relationship, you know, and I think I can speak about like a lot of reality TV shows and not just this one as far as dating, they push for the people that have the strongest connection, you know, to be aired the most. So you saw your Teddys and you saw your Serene and you saw your Gabby and Susie because they had the strongest connections. And that's why it was hyper focused on them, you know, and so you didn't get to see too much of the relationship that we had other than the one time we kissed and all of that.
Wow, that is so
funny.
funny.
Did you guys only kiss one time?
No, we didn't.
So she's not
okay. I just needed to know.
we just needed to get it out there. She did not just get them once, y'all. But you just mentioned you mentioned a whole lot of names that I want to get into. But most importantly, there was a lot of drama. Let's get to the drama in the house. And you were the only. To me, I feel like you were so level-headed, and you were trying to understand the situation. Yes. Now let's talk about Shanae for a minute. As much as I hate to, but let's talk about that. Like
I do not hate. So I actually like the character Shanae. I know, it's crazy.
I really want to know. I really want to know, like, did you really understand the drama? Because I think from a viewer perspective, I'm just looking like I'm lost. Was it really fabricated? Like, do you feel like back, like we're not in the world, so we're not in there, so we're not really knowing what's happening? Like, did you actually see that happening in the house and understand it?
I did not. And like you said, I was level-headed. I was always the neutral person, So my background is in human resources. So guess what my job was? It was always trying to understand the different perspectives. Even when I knew someone was more wrong than the other person, it was, okay, how do we reach a common ground? Okay. How do we kind of reach a neutral place to where we're all understanding? And that's exactly how I was in the house. So I knew that there were some things going on with Elizabeth and Shanae, but it didn't cross my mind how huge the situation was until I watched it back too. Because we don't hear, the ITMs, in the moments where she's talking about, hey, yeah, all these girls can go, da-da-da-da-da. We don't see that. That's behind closed doors. Right. We see that when you guys saw it. So when you were watching it, we were watching it too.
And it's funny because there's two kind of viewers. There's viewers that look at, like, I just look at Shanae and I'm like, okay, she's just a character. She's just trying to, like, be funny and try to kind of make good TV. That's how I see it. But there are some people who will see it as she's a villain, she's evil, she's this, she's that. But I don't see things like that. I'm watching a TV, and there are some people who are going to be on my screen that are going to try their best to try to entertain me. So that's how I saw her. But my sister did not see it like that, or other viewers. Majority of the viewers did not see it like that.
Honestly, I want to ask you this. I don't know if you're able to answer or not, but if you can, just, if you can't too, we'll move on. But do you feel like producers have a say in the way a person actually behave on the show? Because a lot of people, before you answer that, I know a lot of people, when they look at reality TV show, they always think it's not real. But people actually go in there, they are going to find love. And you see some people do last. Some people may not last, but you do see people who stay composed, and you do see people who come out with those characters. Like, do you think that there's some type of manipulation going on where,
or the way they ask the people the questions when they're doing the ITM, I'm guessing. So it's just kind of like, how do you respond,
Yeah. So this is my opinion, because I have no idea, okay? My opinion is that you go on a reality TV show, right? You know from the first conversation with Clayton whether or not there's a connection or not, right? And you know whether or not you're potentially going to be going home eventually, or you might last a little bit longer, right? So how can you differentiate yourself from the other girls? How can you make your time there so exponential, so amazing that one, you leave and everyone knows who the heck you are? They're going to be talking about Shanae for forever. They will always talk about this girl being the worst villain that we've ever had. And guess what? She won. She won. You will never forget her. You will never forget her. I think that's exactly what it is. You're going to forget me. You're going to forget a lot of the other girls on the season, but you will. Well, you won't. But a lot of people are going to be forgotten, but you will not forget Shanae. Because she made sure that she stood out to the point where they hated her. Some people loved her, and either way, you're going to be talking about her forever.
Remember her. Because I remember there was a reality show that was about to start, and I applied for it. I don't remember the exact name, but I had an interview, and I remember the producer she was kind of telling me what to say and how to say. She's like, please, I need some excitement. Okay, so when you talk about that, I need to know that you're sad. Like, show your emotion. Yeah. So from there, I saw it. Okay. I just wanted to know if, like, the people on The Bachelor, if when they're doing the interview, they tell you like, I need some excitement, I need some emotion? Like, do they do that? Because that was my experience.
What I can say is it's 100% who you are. It's 100%. Okay. So people think that reality TV shows are scripted. They are not scripted. And
that's right.
It was 100%. Everything that came out of my mouth was everything that came out of my mouth. It was everything that I said. No one held a gun to my head and said,
that's right.
Hey, say this, please, right now. It was just kind of the questions that they ask. Yeah, the questions that they ask can probably probe, some drama or something. But at the end of the day, you answer how you answer. You don't have to answer. You don't have to be messy. You can just say, or I don't feel like, no comment. It's all about what you want to say. No one is telling you what to say and what to do.
That part.
And some people, I feel like some people, in order for them to like get the screen time, they will kind of like add a little extra.
Of course. Because the unfortunate part about some of these reality TV shows is we've lost the essence of why these shows even started, which was to actually find connections, to find love, and to live happily ever after, right? But now we're in this different generation where people are hyper focused on social media. So a lot of people go on these dating apps to get more followers, to get more limelight, to get that status when they feel like they have 100,000, 1 million followers. And they're just like, yeah, look at me. I'm famous. I'm someone important, and I think that we've lost that sense of reality, which, is what it should be, reality in a sense of just finding love.
That's right. That's definitely right. Who are you closest with in the house? Like, I want to know, like, who were your
I can
people?
Answer that
like,
for her.
Oh, please go ahead,
answer.
I feel, because I've listened to your interviews, and I think you're really close with Susie, which I really love her.
Yes, absolutely. That's my heart. And what's crazy is Susie was my closest friend in the house, and still to this day, we still talk. I love her. She's from Virginia Beach. I'm from Virginia Beach. I'm going home next month, so I'll be seeing her. But right now, like in, post show, me and Sierra are really, really close.
Oh yeah, Sierra.
From the day, like from night one, we were like, oh my gosh, we love the character of Sierra. Like we just love. She's a little bit much, but like we kind of like it because I just like reality TV. Yes. And when people have like a big personality, I love it.
Yeah. She definitely did. She definitely did.
Now, she's so extra. She's so extra, but I love her.
She is. I wanted to know,
although we felt like she did the most. Yeah. Although we felt like she did the most during the women tell all, but
Oh my goodness. Now let's talk about you being an Olympian girl. Like we saw a little bit of your competitiveness on, I guess on the football date when you guys were just tackling everybody and you were scoring all the touchdowns. Basically, I think it was just you and Sierra actually who scored the most touchdowns. And I was like, oh my gosh, this girl, like, this is my time. I loved it. Now, how did you know you wanted to become an Olympian? Like, how did that journey start for you?
Oh my gosh. So of course, growing up, I played football. So, I played football, not American football, of course, but soccer. And, my dad was semi-pro in Haiti. I don't know. I have to verify that. He told me he was, but I don't know if I believe it.
Let's Google him. You never know now. You never know.
Asian parents.
Every Haitian knows somebody who was a pro football player.
My dad always talk about, I was really great at karate. Okay, Dad.
You guys know your Haitian father tell you that they were good at something.
Yes. And so he was my coach growing up, and I absolutely hated it. I don't know if you guys had your parents as your coaches, but Haitian parents as coaches is the worst, okay? Because they are literally just on you. They don't care about anybody else. No, they don't care about any. Yes, literally, exactly.
We have that experience. Playing the piano.
Same. I played the piano.
You played the piano? Oh my God. This is awesome. That's awesome. But you're so talented. Haitian parents will try to get you to do everything. Everything. They'll beat it out of you.
Exactly. And so I played soccer, and soccer was my love. I was a lefty, so I had a left foot. And, they always tell me I ran like a gazelle. I ran like a gazelle. So when I got to middle school, my first year in middle school, I tried out for the soccer team and I didn't make it.
Oh my
I didn't
God.
make it. And so when I am rejected from something, I kind of close off. So I was so afraid that the next year I wasn't going to make it again that I said, I'm doing a different sport. I was like, I'm just going to try a different sport because now I'm scared that I won't be on any athletic team. Everyone said I ran like a gazelle. So let me just try out for the track team. And I made the track team. And then ever since then, I had been running since the 7th grade. I had been running track all my life. And so when I was in 7th grade, I was pretty good. I was fairly decent. I had to get a hang of actually just running without a ball. And so my 8th grade year, I ended up winning cities. And so I went to high school and I was running the 800. And my coach in high school was like, you're not an 800 runner at all. And he was like, you're a 100 runner. And I was like, how do I go from 800 to 100? That's a big difference. Wow.
Yeah.
And so, And so I started training for that. I didn't do too good my first year in high school, but my second year in high school, I won. I got second in the 200 at States. My junior year, I ended up winning as well. And then my senior year, I won the 100, the 200, and the 400, and no athlete had ever done that before.
Wow.
And I also ended up winning a national title as well my junior year. And that's what kind of, basically closed the deal on me getting a full scholarship to go to college.
That is amazing.
Wow,
oh my God.
Yes.
That is goals right there. So how did the process start for you to kind of get into the Olympics once you got to college? And how was that journey like? Because it must have been like a hard, difficult one trying to get into. And I know you represented Haiti. So how did that?
I ran for Haiti. So basically, I went to the Olympics my junior year of college. And so, of course, my freshman and my sophomore year, I was really, really, my freshman year, I was terrible. I went to the University of Oklahoma and I ended up transferring to Clemson University. And then my sophomore year at Clemson, I started getting really good. And my junior year, I was ranked. I was ranked at the time. I was like number 1 in the nation for the 400 after my ACC victory. And so that's when I knew I had to run the A standard in order to make it to the Olympics. And prior to that, I had been running for Team Haiti since my freshman year since my freshman year of college. Mm-hmm. And I ended up getting into contact with the coach at the University of North Carolina, and she was on the board for Haiti, for the Haitian athletics. And so she was, she found out that I was Haitian as well. And she asked me if I wanted to compete for Haiti. And I was like, heck yeah, I want to compete, because the older I was getting, the more in touch I was with my Haitian side and not wanting and kind of to stray away from just the American side. Cause I knew that I'm not just American, I'm not, and I don't want to be just American. I was proud of being Haitian. I was proud of being a Haitian American and I was proud of my parents' roots. And so I had started running for Haiti my freshman year of college. And then, of course, in making the Olympics, it was just I had to reach the A standard for the Olympics, which was 51. Oh, no, it was like 50. It was like 51.8 or something like that was the A standard in order. So I had to run that time in order to be able to go to the Olympics because there's no trials. Haiti doesn't have a trials. United States, a lot of the bigger countries have a trial to where you have to place top 3 or something like that in order to go. So I knew I just had to run this time in order to go. And I know when I crossed the line, I had ran 51:43. And that's when I won. So I was super excited that I won. And then it hit me. You also made it to the Olympics.
That's really big. We have a cousin that was went to the Olympics for swimming. He represented Haiti in 2016. His name is Mike Dorsonville. I don't know if you heard of him.
My brother probably knows him because my brother ran in 2016 for Haiti.
Oh wow. Yeah, you have a family of athletics. Basically. How many of you guys?
Wow. He was a swimmer.
Okay.
He was a swimmer.
They're all in the same, in the same village.
True. That is so true.
Yeah. So my brother probably knows who he is. Yeah.
That's true.
I'm one of 5. So I'm the middle of 5.
Oh my goodness. You're the middle
That's
child.
amazing.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome. How is it growing up in a Haitian household with 5 kids?
Oh my goodness. Well,
Her parents are Americanized, number one.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true. That's true.
yes, yeah. And so when my dad came to the States, he came with his papers. So, you know, he had his green card and all of that, and he was able to get into the military. So he was military.
Oh,
now my mom didn't have her papers, so they ended up getting married. And of course she ended up getting it through marriage.
Right.
And so he was always out to sea. He was in the Navy.
Oh my God.
He was always out to sea for months at a time. So I remember my dad leaving for 8 months at a time, 6 months at a time. My mom raised all 5 of us by herself.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah.
Strong.
So it was, she is so strong. And we're very close in age too. I'm 31. My oldest brother is 35 and my second oldest brother is 34. And then there's twin siblings who are 30 and we're 11 months apart. So we were all the same age. We were all the same age, January 21st until I turned 31, February 16th.
Oh my goodness. Like your mom had you guys back to back to back to back within that
My
same
dad was
year.
in the military. He was in the
That
military.
is
So
wild.
what
Sounds like my grandma and my grandpa's story. He lived in the US and my grandma lived in Haiti. So every time he would come, every 10 years, she would have like a different child. So my grandma had her last child at 45, which is
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
So my grandpa and his little, my dad and his little sister, I think are like almost 30 years apart, which is, it's
Oh my
wild.
goodness.
And there's 8 of them. I know.
Oh my goodness. So now Shanae, well, I said Shanae.
We want to ask about Shanae.
No, Marlena, that was funny. You see how you said you're not gonna forget about her? That's really just what just happened.
I told you.
You implanted that in my brain. But anyway, so what we wanted to know is that, do you think you're gonna be in the down to Bachelor in Paradise? Are you still looking? Do you have a special someone? Did someone already
Yeah,
look you up?
I was gonna ask that.
We want to know. Are you gonna be in Bachelor? And if you do get there, who would you like to see?
Because we want you to go there.
We do. We do.
We do.
We do.
Really
I want to
you
watch
go
you on
there.
our screen again.
Yeah, well, if I get the call to go to Paradise, I will consider it. I am still definitely looking for love, of course. I'm still single, and it's hard out here, honestly. You know, because people they don't think about love the same way that our parents did.
That's
you know,
true.
our parents got married and they stayed married through everything. You know, nowadays it's so easy with social media. People are always seeing they always think the grass is greener on the other side. So you make one mistake. You make one mistake and it's like, oh, you know what? I can find better. And I ghost you. They ghost you.
True.
Yep.
You know, and so I don't want to say I've given up, but part of me, like, it's slowly like dying, like my faith to actually find a good man, you know? And so I don't want to waste my time, but you know, I'm considering, if they call me and ask me to go on Paradise, I'm considering it. Who I want to see.
Yeah. Is there anybody
Who do y'all want me to just want to see me with?
I said Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson?
I like Mike Johnson.
Honestly, I'm thinking about it because I think Andrew is a very nice young man. He looks like he's very
Andrew's too vanilla for some reason.
What? What are you saying right now?
I feel like someone like Mike Johnson, you know, definitely.
Yeah, you're like a man. Okay, okay.
Olu, what's his name? Olu?
I like that.
Olu?
Yeah,
Olu. Yes, I definitely would like to see you with Olu. Yes.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think?
I'm going to agree with you. I would love to see Mike.
Can we please make this happen, please?
Please,
people?
let's make this happen.
I'm going to do a whole collage later.
Because
I feel like Mike is
Yeah, I think so. I can definitely see that too. I can definitely see it too.
He is very, very, very handsome. Put it that
He
way.
is. And I think it also, I think what I can see is that the way that you think and the way that he processed things as well, it probably would be good. Probably would be good.
Based on what we see and hear on his podcast. Yeah.
Right.
We don't know him.
That's
but
true.
you know, that's also if he wants to go, right? You know, at the end of the day, this Paradise, you know, you see a lot of the more recent cast members and not, you know, but Mike's season was way, way back.
They usually come
we had Becca. We had Becca, an old bachelorette. That's true. So they can bring Mike. They can bring Mike on there.
He's going to want to go. That's the thing. So y'all slide in his DMs and tell him, we need to see you.
We need to see you in Marlena.
We're going to start this for Bachelor Nation, okay? We're going to start this.
Yes, to start a petition.
We're going to start a petition of Bachelor Nation. Well, he wants to see you, Mike. Okay, you heard that on here.
Yes. That would be some good TV.
Oh my God. It would be so fun. It would be so fun. Oh my goodness, it was such a pleasure having you. But I know we're not going to keep you for too long, but we do have a game that we want to play with you.
I actually wanted to ask about Rachel and the season that's coming up.
Yeah.
And Gabby. Yeah, are you friends with them?
I am actually really close with Gabby. Rachel, I do love her to death, but like in the house, I was more close with Gabby than I was with Rachel. But love them both equally. And I'm so happy and proud of both of them. I mean, that's an amazing way to end a journey, right? The way it ended with Clayton and then to be announced as the next Bachelorette is like, that's amazing.
But how do you feel with, you know, having the same season, they both having to like date the same man? Like, how do you feel about that? I
just hope that it's not them ended up falling for the same guy. Cause I mean, that'd be worst case scenario, you know? And I think that's my only concern is that they fall for the same exact guy, you know, and other than that, I think they're going to do a good job, but they're very close as well. So I think that hopefully they're together in this to where they're able to have a conversation and say, oh, I like this person. And they nip that in the butt within themselves without actually it being on TV, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that is true. I think it's going to be interesting to watch because I wouldn't want them to pit them against each other.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of reality TV show and giving us like good, you know, viewings and stuff.
Good drama.
Good drama.
Good drama. I mean, we know the people want to see it, but at the end of the day, it would be ugly.
I want to see the drama, but I also want to see the love.
Yes, same.
Let's have Marlena for Bachelorette. Oh my goodness! How did it feel to be the first actually black woman with like dreadlocks?
Sister locks.
Sorry.
Yes. So
we love you.
Also
so
started
beautiful.
mine, by the way. I just have this wig on, but I did. I just started.
Take it off.
It's not twisted yet. That's why. It's not like I didn't get a retwist. No, it's locks, but I didn't get a retwist. So
when you wear it out.
Like when I tell you, when I first got them,
you?
So I'll be 5 years, May 27th. And when I first got them, mine were very, very, like they were literally like this long, super tiny and super short. And I remember being just like you, I wore wigs. And I remember my consultant told me, she said, if you wear a wig again, I'm not doing your hair. You can find somebody else.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what? And what she said made sense though, because when you choose locks, you choose a journey that you have to embrace. Like you can't skip it. And you know, I see some people that get regular locks and they get the extensions because they want the results. Yeah, they want the results like that, you know? And it's,
you know,
I get it.
You know what happened? I learned my lesson. So I'm never doing that again. You know why? Because I actually got the extension and my sister-in-law actually was helping me cut them and she actually cut the middle of my locks. So I have like a up and down kind of lock going on there. It wasn't her fault. I mean, I didn't want to do it myself because I didn't want to do the same thing, but she ended up doing it and it's okay.
That's what you get for not wearing them out.
Right, exactly. You honestly have to, and I talk to women all the time because now I'm actually getting in the aspect of just posting more about my hair because I get so many questions from so many women about my hair. And I'm like, man, if you only knew when I first started, I used to like literally just drool at women that had hair down to their butts and say, oh my God, I can't wait. And you don't really enjoy your own journey by wanting someone else's. You know, and so I literally, once my consultant told me, if you keep on wearing wigs, I'm not doing your hair anymore, it made sense because she's like, you chose this journey to wear your natural hair and to embrace it and to love your crown. And in loving your crown, you love yourself even more, you know? And I think that's another reason why a lot of the women go natural is just to get closer to their own just power. And so it felt amazing being the first time. It was crazy. It was crazy to even think that it's been 26 seasons and not one woman has had locks. You know, but then it makes sense because the show started out as a white show. And what is going to make, you know, Black women feel comfortable is by being somewhat kind of like white women, right? So if they knew they didn't stand a chance on this show, it was, how can I have this European look? Let me get the straight hair. Let me get the weave. Let me get this, you know, so I can look a little bit more like them, but still have darker skin and still be accepted. You know, and I think that was one of the main reasons why a lot of the women went on the show and had weaves. It was because a lot of the leads were white. You know, and then so you saw Matt James season, so many natural women.
So many. It was so nice.
That
many
is so
natural
true.
women.
And I'm so happy they were able to embrace their hair.
Yeah, right. And so with me, and I knew that my locks and my hair was going to set me apart as well. You know, and I was so proud. And I think it's so interesting because I have a lot of, you know, fans or whatever, and a lot of them are white because the show audience is generally more white than it is Black.
Right.
And I actually had one person message me and she said, I don't want to be disrespectful. You know, I'm just truly trying to understand, you know, can you tell us, you know, and people that look like me, what locks even are? Because they don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, that's actually, that's very smart. Like, I do need to educate the people that don't understand why I'm so proud, because a lot of people look at me that don't understand and they say, oh my God, here she goes posting her hair again. Here she goes. But we were brought up to think that our hair couldn't grow like white hair could.
Oh my goodness. I have a question for you. I have a question to not to cut you off. I'm so sorry, but I want to know, like, in that process, before you got started your sister lock, did you have issues growing your hair naturally? Did you figure out like how to embrace it in the most natural form before you locked them? Like,
so I was loose natural, but I always wore weaves. I always wore wigs because I just didn't like the way the kinky look looked. And it was so many products you had to use in order to make it look a certain way. And I was like, oh my God, I'm just going to put some braids in here. I'm just going to put some wigs in here. Like, cause this is just so hard to manage. And I never really wore my real hair. I never did.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't until I actually got locks, and I am like I said, people can say, oh my gosh, she's obsessed with herself. I'm not obsessed with myself. I'm obsessed with my hair.
That's right.
I am so proud. I'm so proud that I'm able to be. Yeah, I'm so proud. I'm just able to be that poster child for women that, one, felt the same way that I felt, which was my hair's not going to grow past my neck.
Right.
You know? Yeah, see, exactly. And I'm able to be that person. And I have had so many people that have came to me and said, I've started my sister lock journey because of you.
Oh,
you know,
and I'm about to because of you right now.
Thank you. I mean, come on.
She started it.
I started it and she cut. And I removed them because no one in Miami could actually do my retwist. It was very hard to find someone. Please give me that person. Because
I'm struggling here in Dallas.
Yes, embrace your power.
It's time.
Yes, that's true. And your locks are really beautiful. How long did it take you to kind of grow them that long?
It took 5 years. It'll be 5 years in May.
Wow.
And you know, I started out very short, and I just prayed. And I had my lot crushes, and I still like follow a lot of girls that have a lot longer hair than me. And, you know, I'm just like, now that I'm at a length that I'm comfortable with, I'm like, I can wait. Like, I really can't wait for it to be butt length, but I can wait. Like, I'm fine. I washed my hair today and it took me about an hour just because I also dyed it. But, you know, it's getting heavier. So I'm like, you know,
more time.
It'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be fine.
And how often do you do the retwist with the hair?
So my consultant, it lives in Orlando. So I fly to her. And when I tell you,
What's her name?
Her name is Brandy Freeman.
Okay, because I had one, because I used to live in Orlando.
Oh, you did? Okay, me too.
Yes, me too. Yeah, I used to live in Orlando, and my consultant, she was in Orlando, and I couldn't find anyone in Miami. So is the person in Orlando?
No, so I'm gonna give you someone that is in Miami if you're not trying to drive. Like I started out with her, and I don't care how many times I move, I'm only gonna stick with her because I just absolutely love the way she does my hair. I've been to other people, and it's once you find the person that works well with your hair, you don't want to. You'll travel the world. It doesn't matter,
and
that's how I am. That's how I am with her. Like I don't want anyone else touching my hair because she knows how to do it the way I love it.
You know what? Give me both, the Orlando one and the Miami, because I travel.
Okay, I will.
Because she might be able to do the drive or take the flight.
Do the drive.
We can go down together. We can go down together whenever she's doing mine. Problem. We go down together. Yeah,
definitely. I'm right here in Coral Gables.
Yeah, I haven't drove because I'm like, oh, it's too far. But if I have a road trip buddy with me, I'll definitely do the drive. And she would love to have two people. Yeah.
Absolutely. I have my fiance drive me to Orlando because his mother lives there. So,
okay.
Absolutely.
Good. It works out.
We're always there. So
now I feel left out all the way to Texas.
You can join us, Abel.
That's true. That I can. And is your hair fine? Like, because I know that some people say, because I didn't want to do like small sister locks or like sister locks. I did locks, but it's kind of small. It feels like, it's not scissor locks, but it's small, but my hair is really fine. So I was afraid. Yeah. So I was afraid that it might break. Does that really happen?
You know, these things are so tiny. When I tell you you could just look at one of them, you know?
Yeah.
They're so tiny.
Wow.
I had one that fell. I definitely had one. This one right here, as you can see, it's super short. It popped. But you just can't have like that much of a emotional connection to it. I mean, I definitely do. But if you think about it, regular hair. Imagine, when your hair was loose, natural, how often you wash your hair and look in the tub and you see little pieces of hair. It's the same exact thing. It's going to fall out and it's going to grow back. It's going to fall out and grow back. And that's what it does. So,
okay. Well, that's good information.
Well, let's get to the fun part. Yes. The game. So we're going to play a game that you probably know, Smash, Marry, or Pass. Bachelor Nation style. But since you started watching the show during Matt James' season, I'm guessing some of the people you probably don't know. But guess what? We definitely have Mike Johnson on there, so thank God.
Maybe if y'all had like their picture, like put their picture up so I can see.
That's true. We don't. I feel okay. If you don't know them, then I'll just make up another name that you probably may know.
Okay. I'll put their picture up. Don't worry. I could do that for you.
Belle will put their picture up while we'll start with the ladies on your show.
Okay.
So Smash, Marry, Pass final 3 girls from your season. So Susie, Rachel, Gabby. Smash, Marry, or Pass.
Who I would smash, marry, or pass?
I know it's a girl. But yeah.
Okay. Okay. Smash, marry, or pass. I'm smashing Susie. No. I'm sorry. I'm marrying Susie. I'm smashing Gabby, and I'm passing Rachel.
Okay.
Good to know. Okay. The second one is Smash, Marry, or Pass, men from Bachelor franchise who are single. Mike Johnson, Ivan Hawk. I'm about to show you what he looks like.
I know who Ivan is. Okay.
Oh, you know who Ivan is? And then Brendan Jones.
Brendan, the one from Piper. No. Brendan Jones is
Oh, Michelle season.
Michelle
season.
Okay, so Ivan, Brandon, and Mike. Of course, I'm gonna marry Mike.
Okay.
Oh wait, come on! I want to smash him too.
Okay.
I love it.
I love your honesty. Oh
That
my
was
God.
a good one. I love it.
You can smash it. You can marry and smash.
You know what? You can do both.
I'm gonna pass on the other two.
Oh, smart girl. She's
Perfect.
a smart girl.
You know what? We're gonna manifest this. It's going to happen. All right. Okay. So the next one is villains from your season. So we have Shanae, Sarah, and Mara. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right.
Mara like marinara sauce.
Okay, so it's Mara.
Mara. I love Mara. That she was actually just in Miami last week, so that's my girl. Let's see, Mara, Shanae, and Sarah. I'm gonna have to pass Shanae. I'm gonna. Ooh, that's a good one. I'll marry Sarah. I do love Sarah. I love Sarah, and I'm gonna smash Mara because Mara a little freaky.
A little spicy. Okay.
A little spicy. Mara a little spicy.
Okay. So the last one, I did not pick that one. I don't know these people, but my fiance does. So the last one is Odell Beckham. Do you know him?
I know who Odell is.
I think you would know. I know you would.
I sure do.
Cristiano Ronaldo, since you are a soccer fan.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Of
You play
course I know
soccer.
who that is.
And then I know who that is too.
So you would know.
I know too.
Jimmy Butler from Miami. I know that.
No,
Jimmy Butler. You don't know?
I'm gonna pass on Jimmy. I'm definitely, gosh, I want to smash and marry Ronaldo. I want to smash and marry. He is fine. I'm going to marry Ronaldo because he's more rich than Odell. So I'm going to marry Ronaldo and I'm going to smash Odell.
Oh, man, that's hilarious.
This was so much fun. We love it. Oh my goodness. That was so fun.
Yes.
We enjoyed talking with you, Marlena.
Yes.
It was such a pleasure having you on here. And thank you for responding to our call where our producers called.
Yes, of course.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and where could I told my parents that I'd be doing this tonight, and they're like, where can we find it?
Oh, trust me. We will make sure we send it to you. We're going to be posting it on YouTube. We're going to be posting it on, our podcast platform. We'll send you the link so that you can go ahead and share them. But before you leave, tell our our listeners, where can they find you? What are you doing? And, how can they keep up with you?
All right. Y'all can stay in touch with me. I'm on every social media site as Marlena Wesh. That's MarlenaWesh. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on TikTok. All of that. So follow me.
Awesome. Are you still doing real estate?
Yes, so I am a real estate agent. So if you guys are looking for a real estate agent in the South Florida area, you can call me. You can call me.
Definitely will.
We'll make this a little commercial for you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. So we are off with Naika,
Obel,
and Marlena.
Okay.
Yay!